Thanks for joining us for this episode 450 of the Clive Barker Podcast, the only podcast dedicated to the imagination of Clive Barker. Today we've got Clive Barker convention appearance news, some book releases, and in the end we debate what you need to read before the Scarlet Gospels. This episode is sponsored by Don Bertram's Celebrate Imagination. Don Bertram is a longtime friend of Clive and advocate of his art. But Don's unique and inspiring paintings are for sale, and over 50% of the proceeds go to the Arts and Medicine program at the Texas Children's Cancer Center. There's even a paver in Washington, D.C. representing Celebrate Imagination. We're thrilled that this worthy cause is sponsoring our podcast again this year, and we hope that you'll consider looking over the Etsy shop to buy one of his original paintings or books. Follow the link in the show notes or click the side banner and let's see what's new with Don Bertram today. As we're recording this and as this airs today, Sunday, June 2nd, today is Don Bertram's birthday. So happy birthday, Don. Also check out Father and Son and the Red Moon on his Facebook page. There are some paintings on his Etsy shop to check out. Mother and Child 2, The Stargazer, The Folk Singer, The Pearl, The Portal, Top of the World, and don't forget about his books, The Chimney Sweep's Tale and Celebrate Imagination. Hey, welcome. This is episode 450 of the Clive Barker Podcast. And good evening, Jose. I know it's late over there.
It's a little on the later side. Yeah, it's like 11. I'm glad we actually are recording this today. I had a bit of a rough day at work, and it didn't go the way I wanted it to go, and I was getting a little kind of cranky and upset about it. And then, we had plans to go see some piano thing at a club, and I was telling Sarah I didn't want to go out because I was just feeling cranky and angry, and I didn't feel like I was in the mood for that. But then, I kind of just took some time to kind of center myself. I ended up putting that behind me, and when we were driving to the club tonight, I was telling Sarah how I felt like anger is kind of like a backpack on your back sometimes. It just hangs there. It kind of hurts your back and hurts your shoulders.
Or like a big stone hand of Baphomet.
Yes, and you just have to carry that thing around, but it's like sometimes you need a little bit of help to get it off, and it's always okay to feel comfortable, feeling you're in a place where you can hang out and with your friends and talk about the things you love. And so that's why I'm happy that, we're talking tonight on Skype, and I hope you're having a good night too, Ryan.
Yeah. I came home and the power was out, so I fell asleep on the couch for a little while. But then it's back on, so we're good.
Awesome. Well, I hope you still managed to have a relaxing evening. If you guys are doing okay while listening to this, if not, it's okay to call someone and talk to someone. Usually it helps to have a loved one that will help you take that backpack off your back and help you get on to do the great work.
Right.
But we got some exciting news, right?
Yeah, we kind of threw this together last minute because there was some big news, and whenever that happens, we usually kind of drop everything and make a news episode. So that means that the commentary episode that we recorded like 2 weeks ago is still going to get put off for one more weekend. But we thought that this was important enough to kind of put this together. So, and of course, the big news we'll start with first, possibly the last convention appearance by Clive Barker is going to be at Spooky Empire in the Hyatt Regency, Orlando, October 11th through 13th. I've been saying I think I may just go to this for a few reasons. I mean, my dad lives in Florida, and I've never been there. I've never visited my dad in Florida. And it's his last appearance, and it's in the fall, and I think I that's a decent time for me to get away from work.
Yeah, that would be
enough time to save up.
And you could visit the parks around Orlando too. I don't know if Joel's ever been to any of those.
Yeah, he definitely hasn't.
Yeah, there's fun stuff there to see and do as well.
Yeah. So we thought that would be good. It's a really early announcement because it's all the way out in October. So I don't really know if they've announced any other guests yet.
Cool. Spooky Empire. So that is October 11th through the 13th?
Yep. In Orlando, Florida.
At the Hyatt Regency Orlando. Let me see if there's any other people that they've been announcing. I think I see some more people like Doug Jones is going to be at that weekend as well. And then they're going to have another event in August, and that one has Heather Langenkamp that's going to be attending that as well. But for now, I only see Clive Barker and Doug Jones announced for that October 11th through the 13th.
Okay. Well, yeah, it's early. I imagine that probably I bet you they'll get, the usual crew of Cenobite actors, to show up.
Oh, that'd be terrific.
Yeah, and it would be great to see them again. I would love that. Simon Bamford, Nicholas Vince, Barbie Wilde, maybe Doug Bradley, possibly Ashley Laurence. Those would be awesome.
They haven't announced those yet, but like you said, I mean, it's October and we're still in May, so
yeah,
I'm sure they're working on.
They typically, when Clive Barker goes to one of those guys usually show up too.
Yeah, that's awesome, and people can take pictures of a big cast of Hellraiser. That'd be terrific. But yeah, for now, just Doug Jones and Clive Barker. But let's keep our eyes peeled for any more announcements, and then we'll probably do some updates.
Yeah. And so speaking of conventions, I also wanted to mention, because I don't think we brought this up on any previous news episodes, but there's also another convention that Clive's going to go to at Monster Mania in Cherry Hill, New Jersey, August 2nd through the 4th.
So that's going to be before the one in Orlando. Yep, that one's October. Yeah. Yep, this one's in August. So they're thrilled that he will be returning to the DoubleTree by Hilton Hotel in Cherry Hill, New Jersey for Monster Mania Con 59. You've been to this one before, right?
Yeah. I went to that one. There was a Hellraiser reunion there soon after the Mad Monster Party one. I think it was that same year as Mad Monster Party, just a few months later. And that was a great convention. I really liked it. I think that was the one where I got in the rubber band fight with Tom Savini.
Oh, yeah. The dueling tables.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That sounds fun. So New Jersey, that's not far from me. I'll have to think about that.
I wonder how far that is to drive.
Yeah, a few hours. Yeah, for sure. That's Monster Mania Con 59 in August 2nd through the 4th. At the DoubleTree Hilton Hotel in Cherry Hill, New Jersey.
Yeah, that's not too far away. And Joel's birthday is right in the middle of that, so I'm definitely not going to that one. His birthday is August 3rd.
Hey, that would be a cool birthday, though. If
not for him. He wouldn't care about that at all.
Yeah, I guess he doesn't like scary movies and stuff.
He doesn't like any movies.
Yeah. All right. But these are the two announced conventions that we'll be able to see Clive Barker at in August and October. After that, I believe that he will be retiring from conventions to focus on his writing again, because there's a few books that need to come out, right?
Yeah. And speaking of books, this is one that was announced a little while ago by Phil and Sarah on their Revelations website and Facebook page and Twitter, called The Mad Butterfly's Ball, and it's kind of a compilation book, and Clive Barker has contributed a poem to it, Upon a Milk-Warm Dawn.
There's going to be other authors there as well, right? Let's see. Says, there's a bunch of them. Richard A. Kirk has a story in there as well, and he makes the cover,
I thought he just
right?
did the artwork.
Well, it says here, I was going through the authors and says, The King's Walking Stick, Richard A. Kirk. And then Butterflies of Eastern Texas, Kidge Johnson. And then there's a whole bunch of people. This seems to be very insect related, huh?
Yeah.
I'm literally just looking at this right now. It says here it's an anthology edited by Preston Grassman and Chris Kelso, and it's coming out next month. Probably by the time you hear this, it'll already be out. Interior art by Richard A. Kirk, Denpao Dorishima, and Yoshika Nagata. And it's a pretty hefty volume of 380 pages. I believe that Clive Barker posted this Upon a Milkworm Day poem once back in 2012 on his Facebook page, right? We actually were reading this poem, and it's a beautiful poem, and it's very, very in line with the theme for this book.
And unfortunately, I guess as we're reporting this, it's already sold out, I'm seeing, or out of stock.
No kidding. I'm seeing $15.99 add to cart on my end at pspublishing.co.uk. But I think this is the paperback.
Oh, you're looking at the paperback, trade paperback one. Yeah. I was looking at the hardcover.
I see. I need to look at the hardcover one then. Hey, maybe the hardcover is out of stock. I don't know. But go to that website and see if you can click on it. And if not, there's still the paperback, I believe, at $15.99. So.
Yep, that one looks like it's still available. And
wow, the theme running through this about metamorphosis and insects and butterflies and bees and all that stuff seems very interesting to me. I'm interested in the other poems that will be featured and stories that will be featured in here. That's kind of an interesting topic of rebirth and resurrection and transformation.
Right.
Yeah.
And Clive's poem about On a Milkworm Dawn is about a dragonfly and the life of a dragonfly. It's which is kind of a metaphor for life. It's pretty neat.
Yep. Upon a milkworm day in summer's midst. Yeah. Anyway, so there's that as well. So good segue into another book. And since we're talking on books, if you've read Barbie Wilde's short stories and a novel, you might be familiar with the Cilicium Quadra, right?
Yeah.
It's I think it's a series of 4 short stories that talk about the origin and rise to power of her character in Hellraiser, right? Yeah. The female Cenobite.
And I have her book Voices of the Damned, and I thought that had 3 stories about Sister Cilice. So now I'm kind of wondering if I missed out on one or if this adds a new one to the series.
Yeah, I believe the first one probably shows up in Hellbound Hearts, doesn't it?
Yeah, but and that one's also in the Voices of the Damned.
Right. But this is now gathering whatever stories she wrote about Sister Cilice, and they call it the Cilicium Quadra, and it's being released by publishers Domain Publishing. So it's now available. I see the paperback for $9.55. You can order it through the Barnes & Noble website or wherever you can find Domain Publishing books. And looks like it was published back on March 5th of 2024. So I'm going to buy this, actually. I'm buying it right now. I'm adding it to my cart.
I wonder if it's also in hardcover somewhere.
Oh, that's a good question. I should probably look into that. Well, we'll see if we can find a hardcover for this, and if we do, we'll put it in the show notes.
Yeah, and then so also we passed by Ashley Lawrence's birthday. So happy birthday, Ashley Lawrence.
Yeah, happy birthday, Ashley Lawrence. And
which was May 28th.
Yeah, May 28th. Wow, that was 3 days ago.
That's also my
I don't know that it was
birthday.
Yeah. Oh, happy birthday. I don't know that we mentioned, but I just remembered, since we're on the topic of celebrations, Mark Coulier won an Oscar for the work that he did in Poor Things. He was one of the 2024 Oscar winners. He was from Image Animation originally, and he did the makeup for Shuna Sassy in Nightbreed.
Wow.
Yeah, and now he's got an Oscar for his makeup and hairstyling, best achievement in makeup and hairstyling for Poor Things. I think he designed Willem Dafoe's makeup, for example, the doctor that they call Frankenstein in the movie. But
I think I heard Martin Mercer talking about him winning this Oscar on their podcast, The Wrong Side of Hollywood.
Oh, there you go. Cool. Yeah. I got to catch up on that one as well. But so happy birthday, and also happy birthday to Tony Randell.
Oh, right. Yeah. Do they share a birthday?
Yeah, I think not exactly share, but one of them is like one day and then the other.
29th is Tony Randall.
That's right. 29th. Yep.
So cool. And happy birthday. And then, of course, Pete Atkins had shared that he's got 4 of his books are available on audiobook now. We'd already reported about Moontown, and I've listened to the Morningstar one already. But also Wishmaster, that was written by Christian Francis, as an adaptation of the movie, is available. And I believe Morningstar is Doug Bradley. That's right. I knew that because I heard that one.
Right.
Yeah, Morningstar was Doug Bradley. And I think, Sean Dureger is the one.
Wishmaster is Sean Dureger, and Fright Night narrated by Peter Atkins. They're all for sale at Encyclopocalypse Publications. You can go and get those right now.
Yeah. A couple of things, I guess, since we're past kind of past the news, a couple of things that were discussions on Reddit. There was one kind of a neat study on Hellraiser. Somebody was doing for college, and they did kind of a video of their study, and so you can watch that, and we've got a link in the show notes. Talking a lot about Frank and his motivations and what he represents.
Yeah, it was the Dark Loft YouTube channel, and her video essay is called Monster in the Closet, Frank Cotton in Clive Barker's Hellraiser. Yeah. I thought that she did a great job. It was very well researched. And go to the Reddit discussion. I think it was her boyfriend that posted the link there. So he's like, hey, this is my girlfriend. And so it's very cool. Yeah, it's a very cool little video essay. It's about 10 minutes, and I did watch it.
Yeah, me too.
I liked it.
And then this is another Reddit thing. It's just somebody was asking, and this is something we talked about a long time ago, and it made me curious about if our answers might have changed. But it's, what's necessary reading before you read the Scarlet Gospels? And I know I wrote an article about this for our blog way back when the Scarlet Gospels hadn't come out yet, and there was all this excitement about the book. And back then, I said that you should read the books of the art, and you should read the Last Illusion and the Lost Souls. Oh, and the Hellbound Heart. I think those were the things that I mentioned.
Sure,
and On Amon's Shore, maybe.
Is there more in that one?
Thinking back on it, now that we've actually read the book, how much of that is actually necessary?
Is there more on Amon's Shore in that one?
No, he's not. It's just a connection to just a connection to Quiddity. Yeah.
Yeah. So I would probably say that was a little superfluous. Yeah, I mean, personally, your approach is a completist approach, right? Your approach is the one that's like, hey, I want to know everything there is to know about this character. That's all you need to read. But I
don't want references to go over my head when I'm reading something.
Yeah. I'd probably say necessary reading for the Scarlet Gospels is The Hellbound Heart and maybe Hellraiser the Toll by Mark Millar.
I think everything that has Harry D'Amour in it.
Sure.
I think that's probably, to me, that's more important than the Hellraiser stuff, because the Hellraiser stuff seems to be more rooted in the movie, versus the Hellbound Heart.
Yeah, but is it necessary, though? I mean, because then you're going to be like, then you have to read, you have to read the books of the art, because Harry D'Amour is in it, right? And there's clues about his backstory in those.
Yeah, there's references to stuff that Harry D'Amour's gone through. I mean, every story references Wyckoff Street, right? And the which has actually never been written.
The demon
as a
with the
story.
golden eyes. Yeah. But is it necessary for the Scarlet Gospels to know the books of the art?
I guess it depends on how you define necessary. I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
Nothing is necessary. You could just read it by itself. But
no, I think you need to know a little bit more about that, so you get a little bit of backstory on at least the main character, the main antagonist, right? Pinhead and stuff.
Nobody's going to punch you in the face if you don't read.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I feel like you'd have a good time reading the Scarlet Gospels if you read first the Hellbound Heart. Yeah. Hellraiser the Toll by Mark Millar, and maybe The
Last Illusion, I think, might have come out right before.
No, I mean, my selection for necessary reading for the Scarlet Gospels is just going to be Hellbound Heart, Hellraiser the Toll, Lost Souls, and that's it. I think that's enough for people to get a good idea on who Pinhead is and who Harry D'Amour are.
For me, as a completist, I would go on and read the other things, but I get it.
like I said, is it necessary for us to know the story from Harry D'Amour in the books of the art? Maybe not. For a better idea of the whole unified universe of Clive Barker, yeah, sure. But just to understand what's going on in the Scarlet Gospels.
Well, they even make reference to Everville in the Scarlet Gospels, right? They talk about demons being just in your mind, or are they, real in the flesh demons and stuff?
Right. That's true. But I think they do a good job of showing us some of the D'Amour's past and an idea of who he is, and in the Scarlet Gospels itself. I do like to have people read the Lost Soul story as their first introduction to Harry D'Amour, because I think it's just such a great, short little story.
Yeah.
It's so tiny, but it's so good. It's such a good story. It's probably one of Clive Barker's best short stories ever, one of the shortest. But it's just so good. The whole thing with Chat and, the chase, and the whole story with the supermarket and all that. I don't know, man. I just love that. And the surfeit of Messiah idea at the end, and the cankerous. Just so many good characters, so many good moments in that story. And it's so short. It's crazy, but it's really good.
I really like The Last Illusion also.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Yeah. And the parade of demons playing instruments that are made out of people, and inflating their lungs and stuff.
And that is a very dark adventure for Harry D'Amour. It's a very he really narrowly escapes the gulfs in that story. A lot of different creatures from the gulfs as well. Very original creatures. I mean, just some of this also makes me think that we were just starting this podcast when we talked about the Books of Blood. Mm-hmm. And it probably would be good for us to revisit it now, 12 years later. 100%.
13 years later.
I'm with you on that one. There's been movies made from some stories, and there's been other stuff that came out, and bonus material from all those like Books of Blood stories that were being released in anthologies or in standalone format with bonus features. So I think that would be a good thing to revisit. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe when we get done with the Hellraiser comics, we could consider that.
Sure, and we could go towards the ones that have not been adapted first, like the Sins of the Father. No, what Sins of the Fathers had a comic book adaptation, but there's one particular story of Clive Barker. It's Babel's Children, I believe. It's the one with the retirement home,
right? And then racing the frogs.
Yeah. Oh my God, that story.
I thought that was adapted in comic books also.
Was it? Maybe in the Eclipse graphic novels, right?
Yeah, that's what I think.
Oh, okay, yeah. But that one, I've always wanted to see that one adapted into like a movie or something, or some sort of special.
Yeah, it could totally be. It could totally be like an anthology
episode or something.
Yeah, like a sort of a Tales from the Crypt. Yeah, sort of a story.
Yeah, we're on the same frequency. I hear you on that. Yeah, yep.
Or it's almost like a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah. Oh, that's perfect. Yeah, Twilight Zone, or in a Black Mirror kind of like episode for that. Yeah, because it's I've never dystopian.
I started to watch Black Mirror, and it was that where they were going to force that guy to have sex with the pig. And I'm like, I can't watch this, and I turned it off. I didn't want to see what if he's going to actually have to do it.
Sometimes the cringe is too hard, and you just can't go through with it.
Yeah, and I've heard good things about Black Mirror, but that's as far as I ever got because I'm a completist, and I don't want to just skip an episode and go on to the next one.
Yeah. But there's stories in the Books of Blood that I always thought were underrated and underappreciated, and people don't mention them enough. And maybe it's because sometimes they can be pretty weird, like the one with the school and the pig.
Yes, yeah, and they tried to adapt that to a movie, right? Anthony
Pig Blood Blues
had a script for Pig's Blood Blues, and it didn't make it, but that would have been one intense, crazy movie. Man, I don't know why he would have thought that it'd be okay to make a movie about killing children.
I mean, so many out there. Yeah.
I mean, the teenagers maybe, but not little kids.
Not little kids. You're right. No, you don't usually see like toddlers in scary movies being killed. That's right. But it would be a crazy ride of a movie for sure. Or Sex, Death, and Starshine would be a perfect thing to be adapted in that anthology format because it's got zombies in theater.
Confessions of a Pornographer's Shroud.
Oh, yeah.
A blanket flying around strangling people.
Sure. Yeah, I think we should revisit these. I think we're having way too much fun and starting to talk a lot about the stories. I think we want to talk about them some more. So I think that's a good idea.
I think we should because we were just learning how to do podcasting, and we've learned so much over the course of doing this that going back, I think, would be great. We'd have a whole new perspective on them.
New perspective, new resources, better mics as well.
Not using the laptop microphone.
That's right.
Yeah.
All right. So, maybe after we do those commentary tracks, we should probably start revisiting that and going back into it. Mm-hmm. Sure. Why not?
Yeah, I think we'll make that a plan. So, that was kind of our Reddit discussions, and I'll let them know that we talked about their stuff on the podcast.
And this is on the Clive Barker subreddit or the Hellraiser subreddit?
The Clive Barker subreddit.
All right, cool.
And so we want to give a Patreon shout out to our patrons: David Anderson, Eric Van de Holt, Daniel Elvin, and our returning sponsor Don Bertram. Celebrate Imagination. Thank you, guys. Yeah, thank you. Of course, the best way to support this podcast is through our Patreon at patreon.com/BarkerCast589. Our subscribers will get exclusive access to content not available anywhere else, like our Collector's Corner video series, rare Barker videos, and early behind-the-scenes stuff. Plus, backers in the $10 tier will also be able to choose an episode topic, and we might mail you something once in a while, depending on your location. Our supporters also get access to the exclusive channel in our Discord server. We'll be forever grateful if you consider helping us out and subscribing to our Patreon. So what's new on Patreon? We've got Collector's Corner, Jump Tribe, my video that I made about the Jump Tribe based on the old article that I wrote. But this video is brand new. Patterns of the Dreaming God was your short story that you wrote about Hellraiser way back in like 2008?
Yeah, right? I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, so I thought I'd just bring it back from the dead and put it in our blog.
And then The Art of Clive Barker, 1993. Not to be mistaken for Clive Barker, The Art of Horror. This is totally different. This was a videotape that you got, I think, was it from Russell?
Yeah.
From the, was it the Best Cutler Gallery?
Best Cutler Gallery. It's a 1993 video. That's right.
And we kind of, and you and I kind of guessed that it was probably playing on a video screen, while people were walking around looking at the exhibit.
Yeah, looks like it. It's just a 15-minute video, and I think it repeated a couple of times in the tape. So, it was kind of rough, but I managed to scan it. And so I put that little short 15-minute video in our Patreon blog as well. Thanks for the help putting it there, Ryan.
And another thing, so I did a presentation to a Rotary Club a couple of weeks ago, and and I used Apple Keynote, which is kind of like PowerPoint, and so I set that Keynote to a video, and I put audio over it, which is kind of approximating what my presentation was like. And so I put that in there too, and it's all about how to podcast and how to start a podcast. Because I got invited to do this, and I thought, well, might as well use it for our Patreon, and I shared my experiences and the ups and downs of setting up a podcast, and what to expect, and what's good and what's not, and what you want to get out of it, and like how many hosts you should have, and like when I did a podcast by myself, I could only ever talk for like 30 minutes, and then I'd run out of things to say. So it's better to have a co-host. And having too many co-hosts means you never can do your episodes because there's always people that can't make it.
Yeah, Yeah, it's always hard, especially when your hosts are all in different time zones.
Yeah, right.
But anyway, I'm sure that I took a look at your presentation. I saw a few
cool.
a few slides of it, and I thought it was pretty good. Thanks for not complaining about your co-host.
No, not at all. The only thing that was anything like a complaint was just saying that when we started, we had a 9-hour time difference when you were in Portugal.
Yeah, that was rough.
And then so on top of that, we would, interview people who were in other time zones, and so it got tricky.
But, since you were in Alaska and I was in Portugal, I guess at the time our podcast was like two fans trying to give a big hug to the entire world.
Yeah.
Really far apart.
Yeah.
But
it couldn't get much worse. I mean, that's 9 hours. I guess if one of us had been in Japan.
That's what I was going to say. Yeah. If you had been in Japan, you'd be even further out. The guest that we had that was the furthest away from us was Australia, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. We've talked to a couple people in Australia a couple of times.
That's right.
And
that's right.
That's
Steve Dillon.
Tricky to get the timing right on that.
Oh, yeah. It's like, it's not just the wrong time, it's the wrong season over there.
Yeah. And a lot of times it's like, and for me, it's today, but for you, it's tomorrow.
That's right. Yeah, more stuff will be coming. And check out Ryan's presentation on podcasting and that Art of Clive Barker. There's not a lot of juicy interview time in that video, but there's a lot of cool visuals, and you get to see Clive in the gallery talking about some art, and you get to see some paintings that you might not have seen anywhere else. So there's that.
I also have it in my head to do a collector's corner about Clive Barker's Jericho, because I've just completed my collection of Jericho. I've got every version of it now that there is.
We have to think about, is there a way to emulate that game on a PC or something? Because I don't think we can get that game anymore, and I don't think it runs on Windows 10. So I would be curious to see if that game is still playable in some form nowadays.
Well, I think that, So
if you don't have a console with the actual game for the console.
Yeah. I mean, I can play it on the Xbox 360, or the PlayStation 3. I have both of those. But the Windows version, I tried to put it in and play it, and it wouldn't go on Joel's computer.
Yeah, that's one of the things that consoles, in some way, can be more reliable in playing old software, because when it's personal computers, you can just install a new OS and then your old apps don't work or something. It's kind of nuts.
It's like Undying. That game came out at a time when Apple made their own chips before they switched to Intel, and then they switched from Intel to ARM. So it's like 3 generations of complete overhaul of how Macintoshes work. And there's no chance of playing that unless you emulate it. Yeah,
I think it came from the Quake engine. Yeah,
right.
Good stuff. I mean, when you start talking about computer games, it's kind of crazy how fast things can evolve. I would like to see another Clive Barker game.
It seems like licensed games never get re-released, right? Because the publishers don't want to go back and hunt down the people that they license stuff from and pay them. And so they just never get put in collections or re-released for modern OSs or consoles. It's just, they just sort of die on the vine. And I think that this counts as a licensed game because, it's got Clive Barker's name across the top of it.
Sure. But I think it's a shame when games are, they stop putting certain games for sale and stuff like that. Yeah. But unfortunately, a lot of game companies do go out of business pretty frequently. So that also can take down a bunch of properties along with it, unless someone steps in and buys that. So,
Jennifer found a couple of old MacBooks that if I can just downgrade the OS 2 more steps, if I format it and put an older version of, if I put Mac OS, is it Snow Leopard? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
If I put that one on there, I should be able to run Undying.
Oh, cool.
So I can have a dedicated Undying computer.
Hey, do it, because you never know when you're going to be able to play that game again. it's no longer for sale, and it's kind of hard to find now.
I know. I wish that like Steam and GOG had those things.
Yeah, me too. So coming up next, what else can we expect? We did record an Evil Dead 2 commentary track with Nina and Ed Martinez, right? That was pretty fun.
Yep. So sorry, Evil Ed. We're going to have this up probably next weekend.
And then we'll get back to talking about the Boom Hellraiser comics.
Yep, paired with the Quartet of Torment, probably disc 2, right? The Hellraiser 2 disc.
Right, that's right. The Hellraiser 2 Hellbound. There should be some interesting new stuff in those extras as well. Yeah. And then we'll do more news episodes as they come out. And Jericho Squad 77 will return. Yeah,
there's more stuff to do. I just, we ran out of time.
Thank you for joining us for this episode. And, thanks for hanging out with us a little bit. And thanks, Ryan, for being my friend. And today I kind of needed this. And this podcast, having no beginning, will have no end.
Thank you for joining us, and we hope you have subscribed. You can find the Clive Barker Podcast wherever you find audio. Show notes for this episode, as well as news and reviews, can be found at our website at www.clivebarkercast.com. The Clive Barker Podcast, or BarkerCast, is an independent editorial podcast and blog that is not affiliated with or under contract by Clive Barker or Seraphim Inc. This is a labor of love by the fans for the fans. You can chat with us on our Facebook BarkerCast listeners group, our Facebook page, Twitter, or our Discord server. The best way to support us is to buy our book, The BarkerCast Interviews, Occupy Midian, available in hardcover on Amazon and ebook on Amazon and Apple Books. Fundraiser 10 is all about Patreon this year. Become a patron to get access to exclusive stuff, pick an episode topic, and maybe even get cool stuff in the mail. You can also buy a t-shirt on our TeePublic store. Go to teepublic.com and search for BarkerCast. Leave a message for us using the SpeakPipe link on our blog. Opening and ending music generously provided by Ray Norrish.
Thanks for listening.